Guys, welcome back to the MMASucka channel. As always, I'm Frazer Krohn, and this is episode 4 now of rescoring controversial decisions. The last episode, I'll link the whole playlist on YouTube below, so you can check out all the episodes that we've done so far. The last episode, I concluded that Jared Gordon was robbed against Paddy Pimblett when the two men fought. And I told you that this episode would be about a middleweight bout between Kamaru Usman and Khamzat Chimaev. Now, for a little bit of context, Kamaru Usman was coming off two straight losses at welterweight. Many thought he'd move up to middleweight at some point in his career. He did just that. He was coming off two straight losses to the now and, when this video comes out, still welterweight champion Leon Edwards. Won by devastating head kick in the final round in Salt Lake City at UFC 278, a fight that he was dominating until he wasn't. And then the next one, a majority decision at UFC 286 in Leon Edwards' home country of England. That was in March 2023. In October 2023, we had the Abu Dhabi card. Makhachev versus Volkanovski 2, the rematch. I'll go on to probably score Makhachev versus Volkanovski 1 in a later episode. But we had Khamzat Chimaev versus Paulo Costa. Former middleweight title challenger Paulo Costa was taking on Khamzat Chimaev in a fight that Chimaev really needed to win to cement himself as that next level opponent, to cement himself as having a win over that next level of opponent in Paulo Costa. Costa withdrew. He had to undergo surgery on his elbow, and he was replaced by Kamaru Usman. For Khamzat Chimaev, just a little bit of context. Prior to this fight, he'd had over a year out after he had that ridiculous UFC 279 debacle when he was supposed to be facing Nate Diaz at welterweight. He not only missed weight, but he was a whole different weight class. He ended up ruining the entire card. And he remained on the card. He beat Kevin Holland by Bravo choke, but realistically, he ruined the entire card. So these two men faced off. This was a salivating matchup, and if the fight would have gone ahead, originally planned to have Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev, I think it would have been a much different fight. But Kamaru Usman, I'm pretty sure, took this on about a week to 5 days notice, so pretty much no notice at all. He cut the weight down to 185, 186 for a non-title fight. And the first round played out how many thought it would, to be honest. Chimaev instantly changed levels and looked for a takedown 15 seconds into the fight. Despite grounding Kamaru Usman many times, it was likely only one takedown was scored, as he never actually controlled Kamaru Usman on the ground once he'd got the times before he actually got control of Kamaru Usman. He didn't have control of Kamaru Usman. Usman kept on popping back up, and therefore, we don't really score that. We don't score a takedown as a success anyway. We score it as a change of position, as we well know. Unless you do any damage or have any control, there's not much point in a takedown, as it were, because it's just, like we say, just a change of position. With that being said, what we know we score is damage. Khamzat Chimaev gets the back of Kamaru Usman. This is a position that we never saw Kamaru Usman in prior to this moment. He gets the back of Usman and lands heavy ground and pound. Although a lot, if on the rewatch, if you watch it closely and you watch it from the camera angles that we're given, a lot landed on the gloves of Kamaru Usman. So they weren't clean, effective shots. A lot of it was landing on the glove. But there was very little work by Chimaev, but he lands a nice elbow in tight on Kamaru Usman. As Usman stands up, Chimaev locks in a face crank attempt. However, Usman fights the hand, slams Chimaev on his head. Chimaev has taken the back of his opponent, Kamaru Usman, and again lands some ground and pound, but it isn't damaging ground and pound. On a rewatch, and the first time I watched it and on a rewatch, it was total dominance by Khamzat Chimaev, but very little damage. I'm scoring it a 10-8 because of the amount of shots that he landed, the volume of shots that he landed, the time in which he dominated on top of, he dominated Kamaru Usman on top. But we have to look at the stats. I know we don't score fights on stats, but let's look at the stats. 2 of 7 takedowns landed. That is what it is. One submission attempt. The face crank, it was fairly tight. It was a fight-ending scenario had Kamaru Usman not fought the hands and slammed Chimaev. He landed 61 total strikes, of which just 16 were significant. So that kind of tells you what the kind of strikes that Khamzat Chimaev was landing. They were pity-patty shots. But then you compare that to the stats of Kamaru Usman. 5 of 7 total strikes, 3 of 3 significant strikes. He defended 5 takedowns, but we don't score defending a takedown. I'm tentatively scoring. I really don't know how to score this round. I said I scored it a 10-8. I think I'm going to change my mind. I think for me, just based on damage, it's a 10-9 round. Yes, the duration was there. Yes, there was a potential fight-ending scenario, but let's be honest, that face crank wasn't close to ending the fight. The damage is what we score first. Damage, duration, and dominance of the octagon. Well, he did dominate the octagon. He decided exactly where the fight took place. I'm flip-flopping a lot. I'm going to score it a 10-8 for Khamzat Chimaev. If you scored it a 10-9, let me know in the comments because I agree with you. I agree with you that it's a 10-9. But I'm also agreeing with I'm going with my head and saying it's a 10-8 round. Round 2, let's just say a little bit of context here. Round 2, Khamzat Chimaev has come out and dominated his opponent who took the fight on short notice. 10-8, potentially 10-8, potentially 10-9, but he's won the round regardless. Kamaru Usman has never been dominated like this in his entire career. The 2 losses that he has on his record as of late, he was never dominated in the rematch against Leon Edwards. It was a close fight, and he dominated the fight until he got knocked out against Edwards in their first fight. So round 2 starts. This is unprecedented times for Khamzat Chimaev. The first minute of round 2, nothing really happens. There's a lot of feints by both men, but no action. Usman lands a nice left hook, Usman lands a nice left off the lead hand. So, he's in the orthodox stance. He lands a nice left, and Chimaev lands a good body kick. So we're kind of 1-on-1 with damaging strikes at this point in the fight. The best shot of the round and of the whole entire fight is a 1-2 from Kamaru Usman, which lands heavy, and then he follows that up with a sweet low kick of Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev lands a brilliant takedown at the end of the round, but it isn't enough for me to win it. It's a much, much better round for Kamaru Usman. I'm scoring it 10-9 in favour of the former welterweight champion, Kamaru Usman. He landed more damaging shots. He landed the biggest shot of the fight so far. Let's not forget, as I said, dominance in the first round by Chimaev, but not much damaging work. Kamaru Usman lands a damaging strike on a damaging 1-2, and then it's followed up by a leg kick. It's a lovely, lovely combination by Kamaru Usman. So I'm scoring that 10-9 by Usman. So on my official scorecard so far, I've got the fight 18 for Kamaru Usman. He's 10-8 in the first round, 19 to Khamzat Chimaev, 10-9, and then obviously a 10-8 in the first round. So for me, it all comes down to this final round. If Usman wins it, if Khamzat Chimaev wins it, who knows? So round 3 starts. Failed takedown by Khamzat Chimaev straight off the bat, and a few pop shots from Usman, just to sort of keep him sweet. The big slip and a counter rear hand by Usman lands. Chimaev returns with a clubbing left overhand, and Usman throws another right hand. Chimaev dives in for another takedown and is unsuccessful and eats a punch on it for his troubles in that exchange. The jab of Kamaru Usman now begins to land at ease. He's found his range. He knows that he can defend the takedowns of Khamzat Chimaev, especially this late on in the round. Chimaev does have cardio issues. We know that. The jab of Kamaru Usman is landing, and it's landing, with ease now. There's a lot of exchange in this round, but Usman is getting the better of them and landing the bigger shots. He's landing first, and he's landing last, and he's landing the bigger shots. There's a big left hand lands, and Chimaev tries to a big left hand from Usman lands. Chimaev tries to answer with a 1-2 of his own, but really misses badly on that one, overswings. Towards the end of the round, again, Chimaev lands a good takedown, controls Usman well, but again, doesn't do a lot of damage, just like he didn't do a lot of damage in that first round. There was a fun exchange at the end between both men throwing, but very little lands. So that round, I scored 10-8 to Kamaru Usman. He was better on the feet, And when Chimaev got it down, he didn't do anything to actually win the fight. So I've actually scored the fight 28-28, a draw, with a 10-8 in the first round. If you scored that first round 10-9 to Kamaru Usman, to Khamzat Chimaev, sorry, you would have scored it 29-28 to Usman based on damage. The official scorecard had that first round as a 10-8. So the official scorecards for this fight are 29-20, 29-27, 29-27, and 28-28. Khamzat Chimaev won this fight. Is it a robbery? I don't think so. But what I would say is that it was a very harsh ordeal for Kamaru Usman to come away losing this fight. We look at the official scorecards from the three judges that scored this bout. All three judges scored that first round a 10-8. All three of them unanimously scored that round a 10-8. The second round, we had two judges scoring it in favor of Kamaru Usman and one judge scoring it in favor of Khamzat Chimaev. And then the third round is the other way, is the same as the round before. Two scored it in favor of Kamaru Usman, one scored it in favor of Khamzat Chimaev. I don't agree with those scorecards. Like I said, I think that first round was a 10-8, but then I think Kamaru Usman won the next two rounds. So I scored it the same as David Letherby, 28-28. I scored it a draw. Derek Cleary and Vito Pereiro scored two rounds for Khamzat Chimaev, including that 10-8, which gives them a scorecard of 29-27 in favor of Balls. Is it the worst decision in the world? No. I don't really see how you score either the final or the second round for Khamzat Chimaev, but that's just my personal opinion. Get in the comments below if you can remember the fight. It wasn't too long ago. It was only last year. If you can remember back to the fight, go back and rewatch the fight. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think that Kamaru Usman lost two of the three rounds. He definitely lost the first round. I think he won the next two. 10-8 for me in the first, two 10-9s, 28-28. Should have been a draw. We should have got the rematch where Kamaru Usman gets a full camp. Interestingly, I've heard loads of people say if this fight was 4 or 5 rounds, if it was a championship fight to 4 or 5 round main event fight, Kamaru Usman was beginning to take over in that fight. And it was clear, fairly obvious to me. Yes, he lost the first round. Khamzat Chimaev blew his gas tank in that first round, in my opinion, because he was very sloppy on the feet from there on out. Yes, he did land a few takedowns, but it wasn't enough for me to win rounds. You have to land the takedowns and do the damage, which he didn't do. 28-28 is my official scorecard. It's a draw. Would have loved to see the rematch with Kamaru Usman, having that rematch on a full camp, having actually trained for the rematch. It's not to be, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Keep it locked. This time next week, I will be dropping another big fight on rescoring controversial decisions. So get excited for that one. I'll catch you next time, guys. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments if you guys agree with me or disagree. Do you think Khamzat Chimaev did win 2 rounds? Did you think that first round was a 10-9? Do you think Usman would have won the fight had it been a 5-round fight? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. I'll catch you next time.